Ready.
Already.
We doggies.
We
What's up, people?
live. Hello. So
Yo.
me and Brian Crisco. Did I say it right?
It's Christgau, you fool.
Crisco.
Christgau.
We're gonna be talking a little Bernie Wrightson. And I picked up this book. It was given to me by a buddy of mine, Fletch Boogie. It's pretty crazy. Like I know everybody knows Bernie Wrightson from like his Frankenstein work and his horror work and stuff like that. But this was something a little bit different. Stuff I didn't know about Bernie. Like he worked for Gang of Seven Animation. And like right off the bat, you don't know who that is, right? Because nobody knows who the production company is. But after seeing some of the stuff in this book, like it's stuff that I remember, and I had no idea like Bernie was involved in it. Like he was the man behind the scenes, like designing all of these crazy creatures and characters and stuff. So let's dive in a little bit and see what we got. Hold on, let me go ahead and share this link real quick.
That's a beautiful cover, by the way.
Dude, is it? Look at that, son. I mean, this is classic Bernie, right?
Classic Bernie. Classic Bernie.
Yeah. Like it's not really that he was like the werewolves aren't that detailed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're good. I'm not going to take anything away from them as far as that. But there's a presence of fear.
Yes, dread.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's craziness, dude. And it's one thing that always attracted me to Bernie's work was he always he was able to capture that in his work, which tripped me out when I seen the animation stuff he was doing, you know. And hold on. All right, let's just do this. Hold on. All right. Let me share it out one more time.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Let's see, paste, go. And all right.
That's a sweet little hardcover.
All right. Yeah, actually it is. It's pretty badass. Yeah, and one thing that I loved about Bernie too is his pencils. Now I met Bernie back in 1999, right? And one of Bernie's things that he told me, you know, because I took a class at that point in his career, he wasn't a huge fan of comics, and he was pretty burned out at that point. But one thing he did pass on a little bit of advice to any artist that was interested in listening, and my ears were on fire when I was in that class. Like,
oh my god, oh
absolutely. And he was like, he said, one thing that I learned when I was in art school, you know, this is Bernie telling me this stuff. He goes, and it was a sign that was on a wall. He said everything else was pretty standard. You know, the teacher was pretty standard, whatever. But they had a sign on a wall that said, "You learn to draw by drawing." And he was like, "That's fucking stupid." He was, "Of course you learn to draw by drawing." But then he was like, but then he noticed later on in his career how crucial that piece of advice was, right? Because you don't just you're not 100% right out the gate. Like you have to work up to like a master level. And Bernie definitely did that with his artwork.
Did he ever?
Bernie in his prime right here.
Oh.
And so that was the first time I met Bernie. And he was selling those prints of his Frankenstein work and stuff like that, which were fantastic. They were screen printed posters of his Frankenstein stuff.
Oh my god.
You know, small, not huge, but at the time I was a broke trying to learn type of artist.
Right.
And so I couldn't afford it at the time. It was the second time when I met Bernie that I managed to get a piece of artwork from him. I got a giant screen printed Swamp Thing poster. Bernie had done the pencils and inks on it, and then they had somebody else that colored it. They were selling two versions. One was the pencils and ink, and the other one was the color. I decided to go with the pencils and inks because I felt more like I was being more true to the artist. They were the same price. It didn't matter. And at the time, they were selling those to drum up money for Bernie's hospital bills because he had pretty much had a lobotomy at that time.
Oh,
they cut out the part of his brain that where his talent was, right? So he couldn't draw anymore, and he was basically digging through some of his older stuff to go ahead and make money.
Can I stop you there for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Now there's a clear moment where you see his art change, where it's just not the same. I had heard this is just what I'd heard was that he had broken his wrist, and that from that point forward, this is like around the time, he was doing like Batman the Cult and that sort of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Art just didn't look quite the same. And the rumor that I had heard was that he'd broken his wrist and that his work was just never quite the same. Now you're saying he had brain cancer.
He had brain cancer. And this was like, when I met him in 1999, he never had brain cancer. At least I don't know if he had or not. He might have had symptoms and it might have been lurking up there and he didn't know it. Right. But when I met him again when did Bernie die? Because I don't want to I don't want to be just wrong.
No, I understand, but it's okay. I think he died about what, like a year, 2 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, because I was at a show in Houston, Texas, and he was there with his wife, and they were selling the posters. Now I was at my booth, and I was like, "Oh, there's Bernie," So because he would, of course, he wasn't going to remember me. You know what I'm saying? But It was just really cool to see Bernie at a show, and he was there with his wife. Now, what kind of threw me was I got to see Bernie in 1999 when he was himself.
Right.
When I seen him this time, he kind of just sat in the chair with his hands, in his lap, and he just smiling, and that was it. And I tried to talk to him a little bit, but it was real short answers. It wasn't anything like, and then I found out like his wife was like, yeah, well, he signed was it pre-signed or did he sign it there? I'm trying to remember. Like it's so hard, but I think he signed the poster there. And what had happened was he was he said like his wife told me, she goes, he's he doesn't draw anymore or anything like that, so he can't do commissions. She said because he had brain cancer and they cut him up a little bit. And she never said that like they cut him up, but she was like, he had surgery and they had to remove some stuff. And
shit.
Yeah. So she goes, we're actually selling these posters to go ahead and drum up money for Bernie's, for some of the hospital bills that, we've acquired through all this. And at that point I was like, I don't care if you're charging $200 a poster, like I'm paying it. You know what I'm saying?
Shit. I mean, Bernie is forever shall be royalty.
Oh, absolutely. Like there will be no other artist that can top Bernie. In fact, there's a few artists that I can say that about. Like,
yes,
Frazetta. Frazetta, and believe it or not, Tim Vigil. If Tim Vigil ever goes, like that'll be, Faust. Anyway, back to Bernie. So we'll talk about Tim Vigil some other time. Yeah. Anyway, so bought the poster, signed it. He signed it. I actually gave him a piece of my art too, because I didn't know how extensive it was at the time, and it, like I said, it was short, like quick answers that he was given. So I was like, hey, Bernie, you inspired me. Here's a Dead Man piece that I did back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, lovely.
And he accepted it, but it wasn't, I don't know, something was just wrong about the whole situation, Anyway, so the poster's now hanging up in my office, and a short time later, I'm thinking maybe a few months later, like Bernie actually passed away. Yeah. So, but he wasn't treated very well by the industry. Like he was treated like, I don't think the industry was treating any of their artists at that time very well.
They wouldn't give Jack Kirby back his original art. I mean, that's
absolutely not. Yeah, it was terrible. But I was happy to see like an original Wrightson went for like $1 million point something recently.
Yeah,
in the auction.
Yeah, that kind of hurt me. Because I was thinking, where was that when he was alive?
Oh, absolutely. And that's one thing that's one thing I tell people, like the art industry is probably one of the most insidious industries out there, because you spend your whole life creating a body of work and building a following, and you don't profit from any of it until you die, because people are collecting your work hoping that you'd pass away, because the least amount of, if your body, like the smaller your body of work, the more valued it's going to be after your death. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
right.
And that's why I tell people, like, this is the most insidious industry ever. Now, one thing Bernie hated was color in his work. Now, I don't know if you can see this very well.
Yeah.
But you compare this, where obviously the colorist went in and they tried to darken Bernie's pencils and while brightening it up. And what they did was they eliminated a fuck ton of detail out of his work, right?
Yeah. It has sort of a muddy look to it.
Absolutely. And then you look at this.
It's like, fuck me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like,
I mean, what the fuck?
Like, it's complete. This looks like cheap airbrush compared to this.
What the? I mean, I would imagine that there had to be colorists that he could work with that wouldn't rape his work, that would actually, hopefully complement it or at least preserve it. But what the fuck? That's disgusting.
Now, Bernie's work actually worked well as a mixed media. Like, his work worked best as like a blend of pencils and inks, and not really just pencils or just inks. Well, I mean, just pencils were great. Like, Bernie's one of those artists where his work was so insanely difficult to like duplicate with ink. You know what I'm saying?
Face, man. Look at her face.
Yeah, this is completely gone. Like, all the detail up in here is gone, dude. All the detail in her face completely destroyed because whoever colored this decided that they were going to burn out all of this to create this.
That's disgusting.
You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, it's ugly. I mean, it's like I have a visceral reaction looking at that woman's face now. Yeah, especially having seen the those gorgeous pencils. It's just ugh.
Yeah, no, Bernie was fantastic as a penciler. Like, he was great.
Oh,
and this is a
is that the shadow?
Yeah, this is the shadow. So, beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so this is Bernie and Michael Kaluta. Pencils and inks for an interior of the page of Shadow 3. Okay, now I don't know if you can see this, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, Bernie's inks, like the inks that they threw down on Bernie's work, like they never repeated. Like, they couldn't capture like the spirit of Bernie's work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was impossible to do that with an inker. Like, unless Bernie was inking his own work. Like, sometimes when Bernie inked his own work, he would do these cool brush effects and sometimes even woodcut to get the right feel to it.
That's the thing about the Frankenstein stuff. They every panel or plate, I should say, that's in his Frankenstein looks like a woodcut.
Oh, absolutely.
It's astounding.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. Like, oh wait, I gotta close some stuff out. I got too much shit open. Slowing down my internet.
That's all right.
Anyway, so that's what I'm saying. Like, Bernie was kind of a unique artist. Like, he was an artist, and people who thought that they could take on a Bernie piece and go ahead and make it better were fooling themselves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. This is probably the best example in this book of a Bernie, like one of Bernie's pieces being colored.
Oh, I like that a lot. I think that's beautiful.
Absolutely, but Bernie colored it. I'm saying, so
there you go. You know?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, absolutely. And he probably did it like by hand. You know what I'm saying? Because Bernie was one of those old school motherfuckers that knew how to do shit like that.
Yep.
In fact, I don't know if you can see this very well.
Yeah.
Let's see if my camera will stop freezing long enough so that I don't know what's going on with my internet. But that's a young Bernie right there. With his disco shirt on, his long hair and a ponytail.
Oh, well, that's one of the things that people, I think, forget or don't realize about Bernie is he started really young.
Yeah.
Wasn't his early 20s, I think, when he was doing Swamp Thing, wasn't he?
This says that it was, this is the early 70s. When,
right.
Yeah, no, it was early. He started early in his career. It says in 1968, he attended his second convention in New York. Yeah, so he was working from 1966 to 1968. So he was already in the scene. He just wasn't known.
Gotcha.
And
that classic cover.
Absolutely. Actually, I was offered this a while back, and my dog was dying at that point, so I couldn't. I just passed on it. But
understandably,
which was kind of stupid. I mean, I'm not a Swamp Thing fan. but I think that book is worth a few $1,000s. You know.
Well, one little just itty bitty piece of trivia: the woman is Louise, also known as Wheezy Simonson.
Oh, really? Right here?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. He used her as the model.
You know, and one thing I'm looking at with this, he stippled the shit out of that.
Stippled, you said?
Yeah. And that's crazy because stipple is one of the it's long. Oh my God, that's the longest thing you can do. Like that's the long way to get to a finished product. Yeah.
Can you explain it to me and everybody else exactly what stippling is?
Okay, so cross hatching is when you take your pen and you do like this, right? Cross lines. It's exactly what it sounds like. Cross hatching.
Yeah.
Stippling is when you take your pen and you do this. You create halftones, and it takes hours upon hours upon hours to do that. Yeah.
So nobody. Oh wow. Yeah. I mean, that's what it sounded like, but like cross hatching, very familiar with that. But stippling, I'd never heard that term before.
Yeah, it's an old school method. Like not a lot of people use it nowadays because stippling is. Yeah. Oh my God, dude, it's such a waste of time. But it has its use and it does have a nice effect to it. But who has time for that?
Right.
Obviously, right. Bernie had time for that. But
and also it's like like who does that? Well, we're talking Bernie here.
Yeah, but you know what? It almost seems like, because you don't see a lot of this in his work, it almost seems like he was playing. You know what I'm saying? Like he was trying to find like an inking method that worked well with his work. You know, because I'm looking at the cover and now I'm looking at an interior page right here, and I don't know if this was. Okay, pencils and inks. All right, they're both done by Bernie, but you can see like he used a brush method instead of a stippling method to go ahead and ink the Swamp Thing page. Yeah. So, yeah, it's craziness. You know what I'm saying? But and then some more Bernie stuff. Yeah, we're doing a little retrospective right here. This is awesome right here. I like that. Yeah.
Well, is that that's from his Frankenstein?
I think so, yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah, this is craziness, dude. His Frankenstein stuff was fucking impeccable, dude. Like
he spent years on that project, and it remains, I think personally, his masterpiece.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't want to take anything away from his regular work.
No, not at all. Not at all.
His regular inks that he did with his pencils were insane, dude. I mean, it was crazy. Dude.
I remember. I think it's issue number 7 of Swamp Thing. That's with the Arcane and the Unmen. Like these horrible creatures that he's cobbled together out of like pieces of corpses. So there's like a hand running around with like a human head attached.
Well, they have some of his Freakshow work in here too.
I mean, saturated with pure dread. Scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, man. Gave me nightmares.
There you go. That's the man himself right there. Yeah. So Gang of 7. So I'll be perfectly straight with you. Like I haven't cracked this book in a long time, like very long time. So I'm not going to be able to. I don't think I'm going to be able to describe a lot of the stuff in here accurately because it's been so long. But anyway, so apparently at some point during Bernie's career, he went to work for Gang of 7 animation studios, right? And so they had a bunch of projects on the docket, and one of those projects was like a cartoon that I remember called Biker Mice from Mars. And I had no idea like he was involved in that. You know what I'm saying? He was also involved in Legend of the Dragon, Alibaba, Hornswoggle. And it was a reboot of Biker Mice from Mars.
So there had been a previous Biker Mice from Mars.
I'm thinking, yeah, but I only remember one. Maybe the previous was some type of, I don't know, concept or something like that they never got made. But anyway, this is the cartoon right here, right? And So yeah, it's a trip because I never knew that. And I was like, holy shit! And then they got his character sketches in here. Like, I mean, it's nuts. I don't know if the pencils are really light, so it's going to be kind of hard to see. But yeah, like but these are all like really cool character designs that he did. Yeah. Yeah, I just never seen Bernie as this type of like an animator, or somebody who would work for an animation studio creating this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this is like something that you wouldn't think would be in his wheelhouse.
Right.
But because I'm used to him being like a master of horror. You see what I'm saying? Like so this is really strange to me that he was involved in this. But
yeah, well, I mean, he did have some versatility. You know, you look at his Captain Stern stuff. I mean, I remember when I saw Heavy Metal when it first came out. That is like the 1981, 82 movie. I think it's 81. Yeah. And I remember thinking that B-17 was the Bernie Wrightson one, but it wasn't. It was the Mike Plug. Yeah. Whereas like the Bernie Wrightson one was the comedy, was Captain Stern.
Oh, absolutely. Now, one thing about that, like that Captain Stern, like that stood out to me the most, right? Because I was like, this is fucking awesome, dude. Yes. And then a buddy of mine, like maybe it wasn't a buddy of mine, like I came across a bunch of heavy metal magazines, like at school, right? And I think I traded a bunch of shit and gave the dude like $20 or $30 for him. Within there was the original Captain Stern story from the movie, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
And dude, the artwork in there was impeccable. You can tell like each page was hand painted by Bernie and stuff like that. Like, but or later on, like I got it now. Like I got the original. I got the 4-part Captain Stern series, which wasn't based on a movie storyline, and that was horrible. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because he never inked it. Somebody went ahead and inked it, and they tried doing digital colors. Or something like that. Yeah. And
blasphemy. Blasphemy.
That's one thing I can say that never works out with some artists. And Bernie's one of those artists that it just doesn't come across well, And so yeah, we got the biker mice right here. They're strolling up, doing
I remember
their stuff.
I remember reading years ago that he was working on a Captain Stern I think an animated series.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude!
And it never happened.
That would have been
I know it would have been awesome, but it never materialized.
Yeah. Now these heroes in here, obviously, this is, he has to make them look heroic. They still have a tiny bit of that Bernie Wrightson style in it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he could do superheroes. I loved his Batman. Yeah,
but that's the Dark Knight. You know what I'm saying? Like this isn't very dark. The stuff he's working on here.
Yeah. And I loved how
you get to the villains.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Let's see. Where's some good villains? Oh, he does some cutesy shit too.
Yeah.
Shit. All right. God damn, there's a lot. Ah, there we go.
Is that a werewolf? It looks like a werewolf with antennae.
Absolutely. That's a werewolf from Mars.
Actually,
that's a were-rat. Anyway,
gotcha.
Yeah, but you can see like this is where he struts his stuff, dude.
Yeah,
this is where he's like, this is where Bernie Wrightson shines.
Look at that arm. Look at that werewolf arm.
Absolutely, that's what I'm talking about right there.
The horror chops.
Yeah, and like some of these other concepts are pretty badass. Like he yeah, like this is shit that you would see in Captain Stern, dude. I mean, this is crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we got some this almost looks like a McFarlane.
Yeah, it does.
Illustration right here. Like Tony Twist.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah. Ish for sure.
Like Kirby said, each artist steals from another artist. That's how we advance ourselves.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, so you can definitely see like there was an influence. Like McFarlane definitely took an influence from Bernie as far as like his features, his exaggerated proportions and stuff like that. Let's see here.
Unless that a big old pompadour. Yeah, it looks like Ronaldo rump. Oh my god! And this is like what? This is from the 90s, right?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Well,
Right.
it's craziness, dude. Like I remember this cartoon. Like, fuck, dude, this thing was old, dude. Yeah, this is all that 2D animation they used to do. They don't do that shit anymore. Yeah.
No, sure don't.
Yeah.
Except for the Japanese.
Yeah,
But even
know, right?
even they're kind of phasing that out.
I'm kind of missing that. You know what I'm saying? Like I actually loved the 2D animation.
Oh, there's no comparison. There's no comparison. And mind you, I've enjoyed some 3D animation, but at the same time, it doesn't have the same heart that hand drawn has.
Yeah, like even like this doctor right here, like this. I mean, God, this is so wicked. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
it is.
saying?
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
I mean, that's just creepy and shit, dude. Like,
It is.
That's where he shines. He shines in the villains. Like the heroes are just an afterthought, and that's one thing I've always followed too. It's like your villains make your hero. It's not your hero that makes your villain.
It's absolutely right. That's absolutely right, and that's why as a writer, I always try and pay special attention to my villains.
Who's your main villain in Six Gun?
Oh, that would be Lord Chilblain. You meet him, I think, in issue, is it 3 or 4, but you don't really get a chance to know him until issue 8.
Yeah.
So he's the arch villain, and Gravesend is his goon, is his henchman.
Is he grotesque or is he?
No, he's beautiful. He's beautiful. Yeah, he's incredibly handsome and charming.
The whole Beauty and the Beast type of thing.
Well, it's more like a Luciferian thing, It's like you think of the devil, right? You'd imagine the devil, if he were to manifest in front of you, would be an incredibly handsome, charming man.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I get that. I get it. Like that's one thing. Like not Bernie, but I'm gonna go off subject real quick because I'm also a huge fan of Matt Wagner.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Like Matt Wagner's Grendel, Grendel was an experiment. Like he was like, his thing was he wanted to do a book where the villain was this handsome, beautiful person, but he was evil as fuck, right?
Yeah.
And the hero was this werewolf looking creature, but he was the protector of the city, right?
Yep.
And it went over so well.
Oh, it's amazing. Amazing. And folks, if you're watching this, if you haven't checked out any of those old Matt Wagner Grendels, you are missing out.
Oh, absolutely.
They hold up beautifully. Devil by the Deed, I think, is a high point. Where that's a graphic novel he did, where every page looks like a kind of a portmanteau, kind of like almost like a stained glass kind of an arrangement.
I remember that. Yeah, like that was the one thing about indie comics is like you have the option to experiment. Like, I mean, you're not working for anybody who's telling you to do any.
That was such a high point, man. The indie comics boom of the mid to late '80s, man. So much great stuff. So First Comics was producing, Grimjack.
I love First Comics, dude. Like everything they put out was just fantastic.
Fire, man, fire! Yeah. Especially
Red
those
Star,
Oh yeah, Grimjack. Fan to the core right here. Timothy Truman.
Dude, Badger, Nexus. Yeah, there's almost nothing to put out. Dude, I got a ton of Grimjacks. I might send them to you if I can dig them out.
I already have them all. but thanks for the offer. We do need to do some kind of a swap, or I at least need to shoot you because you don't have any Frankenstein stuff, do you?
One sec.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, my man Plug.
I got a ton of them actually.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I love those things, but
excellent. Well, I was thinking more like Frankenstein toys and
oh god, I don't. Yeah,
piggy banks and.
The only bad point about my collection is that the first issue is kind of rotted.
Hey, I will take a rotting Plug comic over a pristine.
Oh, we're gonna go over those Plugs. Just not today.
Sure.
Plug, dude, I won't even talk about. I can't talk about it. But look at this, his illustration right here for Freakshow. This is all Wrightson. Like Wrightson went in, he penciled, he painted, he did all of this himself. Like this is what I'm saying. Like nobody should touch a Wrightson sketch, and unless it's Bernie. You know, because Bernie's the only one that can do his work justice. Like, let me put it this way: like everybody downs that series he did with Punisher, where he came back from hell, and he was, he came back with those angelic guns, or something like that, and he was sending
Was this before or after Frankencastle?
That was way before.
Okay,
like it was a series that they put out from Marvel Max, where the Punisher died, right, and he goes to hell.
Right.
And then he comes back, like an archangel brings him back, and he's got all these angelic guns that he's using to kill these demons. Well,
nice.
Bernie did the whole thing, but he never inked it. He never inked it, and he never colored it. And and everybody downed it. They were like, "This is a stupid series. This is retarded. All this kind of stuff." And I was like, "But it never did him you guys never did him justice." And
Look, when I get pencils from Adrian, that's the artist that did Six Gun, I look at them. They're so beautiful. I don't want to see them inked. I don't want to see them colored. And as much as I love his work, Bernie was, one of the true giants of the medium.
There's a few though. There's not just Bernie. I'm talking about there's so many out there that they don't get enough credit. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
I'm not just talking about Bernie. I'm talking about I hate to bring him up again, but Tim Vigil. Tim's a master artist, dude. And I've seen his process. Like I was at a show with him, and he had a sketch that was literally 2 inches by 4 inches, right? About this big.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit smaller than this panel right here. Right. And that was more detail in that one little thumbnail than I've seen any artist ever put into a full page. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And most artists. I was like, dude, Tim, your fucking thumbnail looks better than most of these artists' finished work. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, well, thank you. I was like, no, dude. And this was a thumbnail that he was thinking about turning into a full-blown piece, And I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Do you want to explain real quick to the audience what a thumbnail is?
Yeah, I know.
Right? I know, but
yeah, no, a thumbnail is
worth mentioning.
It's a rough sketch that you do to go ahead and plan out an actual piece of artwork that you're doing. Most people's thumbnails consist of stick figures, almost stick figures. Right. I've been privileged enough to see a Frank Frazetta thumbnail, fucking Alex Ross, and Tim Vigil, and all of them. The one thing all of those guys have in common is that their thumbnails are hyper detailed. Yeah.
Sometimes if you look at original art pages, sometimes you'll see the thumbnail down in a corner. They'll do it on the actual page. I mean, I'm assuming that most artists don't do it that way, but I have seen that before.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Look at that.
This is beautiful, right?
Freakshow, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you look at the right.
Oh God.
Somebody just threw up all over it.
Yeah, well, he tried to digitally paint this. It's obviously that they tried to digitally paint it. Gross. Now, one thing that they did too was they tried to go ahead and they tried to add to a Bernie, a Wrightson. You see what I'm saying? They put all these fucking looks like icicles. I don't know, dude. You know what I'm saying? And they totally burnt what you see on this monitor. It looks even muddier in person. You see what I'm saying? So you don't see the typography he did on the side of the wagon. You don't see the windows back here in the blacker part.
Oh fuck, that's maddening.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You don't see the highlights he put in the wagon wheels, or even most of the detail inside of this guy. And the horse looks like it's fat because they miscolored down here. You see what I'm saying? They totally fucked this thing up. Oh, and all of this detail up in here is completely destroyed because they decided, whoever colored this, decided that they were going to be the greatest digital painter ever and ruin a Wrightson. You know what I'm saying?
Whoever did that page, you are a dick.
Should we call him out?
I don't care. I don't care. He raped a Wrightson, dude. He raped a Wrightson.
Well, that's exactly what he did, because that's one thing. I do realize whenever you color a piece, you're actually you're you're trying to like put some of you into it. It doesn't say. They're not going to put their name on this.
Well, yeah, but you see, a good colorist is like a good rewriter, right?
Yeah.
Like when you have somebody that rewrites like a script in Hollywood, one of the reasons movies are so bad these days is because through the rewriting process, you only get screen credit if you rewrite a certain amount, right?
Yeah.
And so you get these people like Michael Tolkien who don't get the screen credit because they'll come in and they'll look at a script and they'll be like, okay, I think this is just about perfect. Let me tweak it a little bit here, just a little bit here, and it's golden. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
First, do no harm, but then you get people, they want to piss on other people's work.
Here's another piece right here. Here's the original right here. This is
the
inked.
mood.
Okay.
The mood. Yeah.
So this is Bernie's inks, right? Now this is an inexperienced colorist. And the reason why I say that is because they use really cheap Photoshop effects to go ahead and try and come in here and put in highlights and different things like that. Like, this is not a good colorist. You know what I'm saying?
It's gross.
This is horrible. I don't even think they were using their color wheel when they were doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is terrible.
Hack work.
Yeah. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm surprised they even printed any of that in here. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is not.
It's very illustrative, though, isn't it?
Like
it's very educational.
Yeah, but you see this highlight right here?
Yeah.
Like, he used 2 points of light, and a lot of artists do that. I use that in my paintings, right? But if you're going to use 2 points of light, you have to distinguish this point from that point.
Right.
And the way you do that is you use a whole different color. Like, you can use a bright yellow, you can use whatever, as long as it does not match within these colors over here. Like, it stays hot when these are cool.
Right.
And this is what it was supposed to look like.
Right.
You see that secondary light source?
Yes.
And they totally ruined it. Like, that should have popped this thing out. Like, it should have just like threw it out there, and they completely destroyed it. Yeah.
Well, you see, that's what's so.
Again, another ruined Bernie piece right here.
Oh, terrible! Oh God.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking, man.
It is. It's pretty disgusting, to be honest.
It's gross. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, they call it a color concept. I call it ruined.
Blasphemy. I call it raped. You know,
Yes.
That's just disgusting. Yeah, I mean, but like I was going to say, I'm not an artist, right? I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. Even my my stick figures, when I do storyboards, are pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, but I like that you try to do storyboards. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I at the same time, I also let my artists know, don't feel like you need to commit to this. Like, if you got a better way of doing it, you have to. You have to, because also here's the thing: writers, trust your artists. They can see stuff that you can't.
Well,
they're going to notice things that you're not going to notice.
I'll accept the choreography you have on paper,
right?
But I'm not gonna be married to it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm use my own judgment when it comes to that, because you're not drawing this. You're seeing it from a writer's point of view. You're not seeing it from an artist's point of view.
Yep.
Here's another quality Bernie piece.
Oh.
Like, I mean, you can't not appreciate this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to show you the colors because it's just going to piss me off. And yeah, that's just not even look at this right here. But you can see, like, he liked to do something I like to do whenever I do. I like to do like this stretched skin type of thing. I'm not sure where I learned it. It probably was some subliminal type of thing, like I picked up from his art, and I just never realized it. But
it's almost sort of like, I want to say, like Bernie's equivalent of the Kirby crackle. Do you know what I mean? Like, one of those things that's just like that you just associate with him specifically.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible.
That's probably not a good analogy on my part.
Bernie was always into like, what is it, body horror? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, God, having a second head down here, or whatever.
The frog woman to me was always my favorite from this story.
Yeah, well, he put like these like emotional eyes in her too, which made you want to feel sorry for her.
Oh my God, real pathos, man, real pathos. That's the thing. His work was full of dread, but it also could have real heart.
Well, you can also see like in his work, like that's what I'm saying. Like it freaked me out that he was doing animation when this was what he was known, not just known for, but this is what he excelled at. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And like, I mean, I guess you have to do whatever you have to do to pay the bills, and I guess this was a high profile type of job, you know, to do stuff for an animation company. Like one of the things with Kirby is Kirby's style looked like a variation of a Hanna-Barbera style back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it never surprised me that Kirby worked in animation.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and Alex Toth working in animation, perfect fit.
Mm-hmm. What was weird was Alex Toth was trying to get into comics while Kirby was going back to animation. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a weird thing. But like looking at this book, like now that I'm taking a good look at it, like it really opens my eyes to a bunch of stuff that I never really noticed before. When check this out, character sketches for all his freaks.
We can't. That's not really showing up too well, but not that that's your fault.
No, it's the pencils. The pencils
right.
Super light.
Oh,
but
wow.
You can kind of see them a little bit.
Yeah.
Chance to focus. It's not going to do it. It's too small.
Yeah.
But let's see here. Maybe they got some dark ones in there. God damn it.
Oh man, this is a great book.
Yeah, it's pretty badass, dude. Like, you know, that's the lizard guy. Here's your frog girl.
Yeah, those big soulful eyes.
Yeah. Comma, you bastard. Focus. It's barely doing it. Doesn't help. I got tremors.
I was going to ask how you doing with the kratom.
I'll talk to you off air.
Okay, yeah. let's stay focused on Bernie here.
See, I never realized he had all his preliminary sketches for his freaks, you know, for the freak show.
Yeah,
you know? Like this is some tripped out shit because this is what he loved to do. He loved to do this body horror.
Yep. Like that issue of Swamp Thing that I mentioned that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Yeah. That was what, you know, because when I was a kid, what drew me to comics was were the horror comics, because I was into monsters, and in the mid to late 70s, there was this explosion of monster comics.
You know, it's a trip.
Yeah.
Everything we've been looking at for Freakshow, it seems there was an animated movie based on Bernie's work.
What the fuck?
Yeah, this is scenes from the animated movie.
What?
Yeah. Like, I'm going to have to track that down now, dude. I'm seriously going to have to go
did it ever come out, or is this something that's like rotting in a vault someplace?
It doesn't say. It just says sequential images from scenes from the promo. It's from the promo for the animation horror feature film Freakshow, based on Bernie's concepts and designs seen in this chapter. So obviously, at least the promo got made. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think if it had been finished, I think we would know about it.
You think? Like,
yeah.
I hope. But there's so much shit that gets buried, and there's probably a Freakshow full feature animated that got buried over at Warner Brothers or some stupid shit like that.
Right.
Because they bought some, like, 7 Gang animation, and just buried everything they had. The Juice, the animated feature film. Huh. Okay. Well, this is another film he was working on.
I'm just looking at his IMDb credits.
Yeah.
Let me see. Animation department. Oh, that's interesting. He worked on the 2002 Spider-Man series. Character designer uncredited.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, look at this. Don't look at that. That's horrible. Look at this.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's one thing I love about his work, and that I try to steal from my own work, is his use of shadows.
Yes.
Like Frazetta was really good at that too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. Can you go back? Because it looks like there's people looking in through the window there. I didn't even.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's creepy as fuck, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was like he did some really like it's that added extra piece of horror. Like you don't really notice it at first. You're like, holy shit, dude. Yeah, this is amazing work, dude. Incredible.
Fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful.
Wrightson.
Yep. Bernie to the
yeah.
max.
Here we go. Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that, dude. Now that's some crazy. I don't think that's a werewolf.
No, it
That's
doesn't
not a
look like
werewolf.
one. What is
Yeah.
this? What are these from?
This is from an animated feature called The Juice.
Okay.
So I'm not. This is another one. Like, was it made? Was it not made?
I don't
You know?
think so because I'm not seeing it anywhere.
I gotta check this out, dude. Like, I'm like, as soon as we get offline, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do some serious deep dive into this crap and see what's up.
Yeah, I'm just checking here. IMDb. He also did work on conceptual artwork on Space Truckers.
Oh, really? Nice.
Which is a fun little movie, and also Ghostbusters.
I could see that. Yeah, I could totally see that because
Yep.
Ghostbusters had a bunch of stuff in there that was just crazy awesome. Look at his creatures, dude. I like drawing monsters.
Yeah. I noticed that.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, Bernie, and I'll be honest, like Bernie and Starlin and all those guys is, they, and also Arthur Adams, like all those guys do crazy ass monsters.
Yeah, they do. I love me some Arthur Adams. I love me. Who's the other fellow that you just mentioned?
Shit, who's that? Oh, Starlin.
Starlin. Yeah,
Starlin used to use animal horror. Like, it was crazy. Like, every monster he did in Demon, it was based on some type of animal. Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, early monsters were always like combinations of different animals. Generally speaking,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually very old school. Oh wow.
This is cool, right? I mean,
yeah. Is that from the
like
Mist?
Tentacles?
No,
this is still from The Juice. This is all artwork that he did for The Juice animated feature.
Fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if this would have came out, this would have been like, fucking, this is a game changer, dude.
No shit.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, look.
Let me see. Oh man.
Like, it almost looks like, you remember a movie by Clive Barker that was put out called Rawhead Rex?
Oh, well, it wasn't by Clive Barker. It's based on a Clive Barker story, but yeah.
Yeah. That almost looks like the main, because that movie scared the shit out of me, dude. I was like, yeah. But that does look a little bit like Rawhead Rex right there, doesn't it?
Right, like an ogre.
Yeah, it looks crazy because Rawhead Rex had that extended like forehead thing going on or something like that. It was nuts.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Some crazy shit. My boy Bernie.
Yeah, man. Wow. So I'm assuming that this is probably the story had something to do with some kind of like a formula or something that turns people into monsters.
I have no idea, but
like.
I so want to see this.
I know.
Have the story with the art to go with it. They should release this in some type of way.
Oh, I love it.
You know what's weird? Like, you can, not really weird, but you can tell like he's so uncomfortable drawing this figure right here because it's so awkward, like the way it's positioned. And actually, I mean, it just doesn't look right. But look at how this flows so well in the background, dude.
You can see where his interest was.
Yeah.
His focus, I should say.
There we go. Now this is what I was looking for. The original pencils. I can't stand the colors that they did in this book. Like, they're completely disgusting.
That's the word for it.
Yeah. But this is the money shot right here, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
What's weird? No, that's right. Okay, cool.
The way that he does the fur, just the detail is just insane.
Now, they had to have a promo for this too, because here, look, dude, these are animation cells from the movie.
Wow.
Maybe they didn't.
around 1980, 81, 82, there were a bunch of animated features for an adult audience that came out.
Yeah.
And if they had done well,
probably because you think McFarlane put out no, you're talking about in the 80s. Okay,
in the 80s. Yeah. When Nelvana, the Canadian studio, put out a movie called Rock and Roll.
I got it, and that is the greatest movie ever produced. Love
it to pieces.
Dude, that movie should be called Heavy Metal 2. That's what that.
You think? Right?
Actually, was that put out at the same time as Heavy Metal, or was it put out before?
It didn't get a domestic release. It went. It
went to the theater, but it was competing with a bunch of other movies that buried it.
I
got the documentary.
Oh yeah, the documentary from Night Flight. Yeah. And there's a 2-disc DVD set that came out.
I got it. Yeah,
me too.
I got that. Now,
yeah.
You do know that's not the original movie that went to the theaters, though. That's a cut from VHS tapes and all kinds of shit because the warehouse burned down with all the concept art.
I know.
Oh my god, dude!
It has both versions though, which I think is really cool.
Yeah,
and it's I don't know. Did it actually get a theatrical release in the United States?
I'm pretty sure that's a Canadian movie, isn't it?
Yes, but
they had American, like they had Blondie in it and all kinds of like.
It's Earth, Wind, and Fire, but
Iggy
you also
Pop.
Iggy. Yeah, you had my man Iggy in there.
Dude, it was crazy, dude. That movie was so badass.
Yeah,
and
buried treasure.
Let me tell you my story about rock and roll.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was a teenager, I was dating this chick, right? And they had a bunch of. I was at our house. And they had a bunch of VHS tapes, so I popped one in, and it was rock and roll, right? And I'm watching it. I'm like, this is the greatest fucking movie ever, right? 15 minutes before the movie before the end of the movie, the VHS tape cuts out.
Oh.
I never knew how the movie ended, right? But the movie was so stunning and it influenced my work so much that I spent the next 10 years trying to find out what happened at the end of the movie. Right?
It was impossible to find.
And so absolutely. And so they finally released the remastered version because the original, like I found out, like everything that all the artwork, all those animators, they had these Disney animators, all these guys, masters, right? Like all that artwork they did burned up in a fire. The original tapes, like with Blondie, all that kind of stuff, burned up. And so the remastered version was okay. They said that it was the fans. The fans came out and they donated their VHS tapes and everything like that, so they could cut the movie back together and do digital editing on it to go ahead and make it right. Like that 2-disc set, one version is the unedited VHS copy, and the other version is the Super Mac digitally edited VHS copy. Well, yeah, and dude, and once I got it, like I'll be honest, I ripped the DVD and everything because I'm like, I'm not losing this movie again.
I know, right? Yeah. I know. And it's been out of print. It's been out of print ever since, and there hasn't been a Blu-ray release that I'm aware of.
No, I don't think there has. Like I still got my DVD version, but I'm not sure how long DVD is going to be around. So
yeah. But once you have it on DVD, it's going to survive because people have made digital rips of everything.
Yeah.
One movie where you can't find the original version at all, like the original negative or even an original print, is Shockwaves. Even the Blu-ray of that's taken from like a really good VHS rip.
Shockwave? What's that?
Shockwaves. It's the Citizen Kane of Nazi zombie movies. It's a horror movie. It's a really creepy one about it's awesome. It's awesome.
Look at this crazy ass Frankenstein concept he did, dude. This is nuts. Yeah.
That's great.
That's the dude you was talking about with the head and the hands put together right there.
Yeah.
Is that him?
I think so.
Oh God, focus, you fucking asshole.
Focus, you idiot.
Focus. Oh well. Yeah. It's craziness, dude. This is something called malpractice.
Nice.
I think that's the name of the
character, maybe
the movie they were working on, the animated movie. Yeah, that's what it was called. It was called Malpractice.
I wouldn't be surprised if all of these had been planned like around like the early 80s, and then because rock and roll was a bomb, because heavy metal was a bomb, because the Ralph Bakshi movies weren't doing that great, the whole notion of animation for adults just went right out the window.
Dude, here's the scenes from The Juice.
Wow.
This is from the promo of the animated horror feature, The Juice. Like, we are gonna have to find this, dude. This is
we gotta
crazy.
start a manhunt. We gotta. I wonder if any of this shit's on YouTube.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm gonna have to check this out because this is nuts, dude. Like, I should have paid a little bit more attention to this book when I first got it.
Oh, what if it's still sitting in a vault someplace?
Oh, that would be fucked up.
Oh man, as long as it's well preserved, you know, and not hopefully not rotting in somebody's basement or attic or something. I mean, shit. Every couple of years, they keep finding new pieces of Metropolis. So,
yeah, that's true, huh? Yeah,
yep.
Change for $1. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, he was quite the cartoonist too. Yeah, obviously from Hanover Fist.
Yep. Yeah, he could step out of his.
Actually,
that
genre. Looks like Hanover Fist before he changes in.
Yes, yeah, it does. It does.
That's craziness. Change for $1. There's another short animated feature.
Wow.
Afterward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at his IMDb listing, and none of this shit's on there.
You know what's cool? Like, I'm noticing the afterwards written by Marv Wolfman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, I love me some Marv Wolfman.
And there he is, you boy.
Yeah.
It really is a shame, dude. Like,
it's a tragedy.
You're never gonna have another person, like another art style like that. Like, that shit's gone. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
That's the shame about all of this, is that, you know, it's like once the artist dies, the art dies with the artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then there's
But the stuff that they created lives on.
Yeah, but there's a finite amount.
I know,
you know?
I know.
Like, there was what was that church that burned down in Paris?
Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame. Can you imagine the artwork and sculptures and everything that was involved in there?
Oh my god.
That went up in flames. You know?
The bombing of Dresden. Shit, man. World War II. The bombing of like large swaths of Europe.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
The Totentons, for instance, gone forever, man. Gone forever.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's a finite amount that's to be appreciated. You see what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
what's really fucked up, and what really burns my ass about this whole thing, is that Bernie and his wife were reduced to selling like old pieces of artwork, like prints of Swamp Thing at a convention to help pay for his bills. You know, like nobody wanted to drop Bernie a dime. You know what I'm saying? Like,
where was Stephen King? Where was Stephen King?
Yeah. You know, I mean,
or maybe he didn't know, because you know how people get proud sometimes, and they don't want help, or they don't want to like.
I gotta be honest. I mean, they weren't that proud because they were selling, you know, his work over there. But that's what I'm trying to say is, like, art guides civilization. Civilization doesn't guide art. You see what I'm saying?
Truth.
And nowadays, it feels like the public is trying to guide the artist, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. You know?
No. Well, I mean, that's what the SJWs are all about.
Yeah, with politics and all that kind of stuff, and it's just not. It's not the way things. You're messing with the natural order of things.
It's offensive. It's offensive. It's like, me, artist, you, audience.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay attention to what I do. You don't have to consume it. You can just like walk right by, but don't fucking tell me what I can and can't do, and especially don't tell me what to do, unless you're paying me. If you're paying me, okay, well, and it's like in a
who was it? Is it Alan Moore that Alan Moore wrote? What did he write? Alan Moore is the wizard, right? Right. He wrote.
Yes.
Who
worships the Greek serpent deity Glycon.
Well,
yeah.
To me, like a writer is just as much of an artist as a painter. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Alan Moore said that he doesn't care if you like him, if you like his work, or you don't like his work. He just wants you to react to his work.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I kind of feel the same way. Like, you don't have to like Bernie's style. You don't have to like the horror involved in, or the body horror. But if it causes you to react, or if it causes you to be emotionally invested in it, then he wins.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And he should, because that's the point of an artist.
Yeah.
You know?
It is. And, you know, it's, I think you look at the example of Bernie Wrightson. I think it's an important thing for people like you and in your field to consider maybe moving to France.
Yeah, good luck with that.
No, seriously, dude. Robert Crumb did it. Robert Crumb did it, and
Are you a Crumb fan?
Oh yeah,
because I got a gigantic Crumb coffee table book that I'm just
yeah.
bursting at the seams to go ahead and bust out.
Oh, dude, there's no fucking way that shit could get published today. No way. No way.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, this covers everything. Like, it covers things about like that thick and it's this big.
Nice.
Because my hands are off screen, that just tells you how big it is. But it's insane.
I don't know if you know the artist Steve Scott.
I do not.
He just moved to France and is doing very well. Here's the thing. In France, comic book artists are treated like, surprise, artists.
Well, they're starting to get treated that way now. It's just that with all the like, it's really hard. Because right now it's more of a popularity game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're good, but you know, how many people like you? You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's certain old timers that seem to like be doing. I shouldn't call them old timers. I should call them Hall of Famers. There are certain Hall of Famers that are doing really well for themselves right now. Bill Sienkiewicz, for instance, seems to be really popular. People are very into buying his stuff. He's doing okay. But the fact that Bernie Wrightson, of all people, I mean, you can't tell me. You look at any one of those pencils. You can't tell me that wouldn't look beautiful in a fucking gallery.
Michael Kaluta wrote the intro. Anyway, like,
nice.
Well,
big shadow
you do
guy.
Realize, like, Kurt Swan, you know, the man responsible for Superman's iconic look.
Yeah.
You know, he died poor, right? I mean,
I know.
He wasn't.
I know.
I mean, this was before. I'm pretty sure this was before the image boom. You know, and artists were getting paid somewhat decently. You know, like they would have puked if they seen somebody posted Jim Lee's con rates. You know, which is like $20,000 for an 11x17 piece of artwork. You see what I'm saying? $25,000 if it's somebody else's cover that you want Jim Lee to recreate.
Wow.
You know? And it's $1,000 for a headshot. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, those guys would have puked to see prices like that, you know? And a Kurt Swan could have pulled that, you know? Like,
that's it's just it's very, very sad, and it's very, very, very frustrating. It's just so unfair when you think
absolutely.
that Bernie didn't die like a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, but I hope that piece that got sold for $1 point some odd million of Bernie's. I hope that was his wife selling it.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's so fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But
seriously,
I have a really bad feeling.
Yeah, me
this
too.
Is just me speaking.
I know.
That they had to dump every piece of his original artwork to go ahead and pay for those medical bills before he died. You know.
Another reason to move to France. Free healthcare.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I am a proponent of is free healthcare. And the way I explain it to people is like this. Like, you worked all your life paying into healthcare, right?
Yes.
But you don't get the benefit of it. But everybody else gets the benefit who don't work. I was like, but shouldn't you actually get healthcare so that you can keep working and keep paying into the system?
That's capitalism. Or I should say unfettered capitalism, you know?
Well, your car needs a tune-up, you know?
Yeah.
And your body's not that much different. So
yeah, it's a hell of a lot more important. You can't fucking replace it.
Oh, absolutely. And but it just irritates me that so many artists, and these are artists that inspired so much. I mean, there's video games out there. I mean, you got Dead Space and shit like that. And I guarantee you the artists in Dead Space were definitely inspired by Bernie Wrightson.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt, those monsters, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and it just trips me out that Bernie had to die that way. You know, I mean, it sucks that he got lobotomized. You know, I'm saying lobotomized. I mean, when they cut out the part of your brain that has your talent, that's lobotomized to me.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. At the same time, if that couldn't be helped, at the very least, they shouldn't have been, bankrupted by medical bills.
Absolutely not.
For getting sick.
Yeah.
And that's the message in America, folks. Listen carefully. don't get sick.
Oh fuck no, dude. And insurance isn't going to help you when it comes to that, because they will evaluate your age and your usefulness before they'll go ahead and pay out anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a trip.
It is. It's horrible, you know. Like I say, I wish he'd moved to France and been a Mac Daddy and treated like the treasure that he was.
Yeah, it does suck. You know, I don't know, but we have so many other artists to get through.
Yeah, we do.
Probably the next one, I'm gonna bust out that Crumb book, and that is not everybody.
Oh yeah, but Mr. Snoid.
But me and Crumb have the same taste in women, so
you both like them thick.
Yeah.
Did you see the documentary when he jumped on when this thick chick was giving him a piggyback ride?
Well, one of his ex-girlfriends said that their sexual experience was him sitting on her feet. Like, what? Dude, that's insane. What are you, crazy?
Yeah, but it's just so funny because, like, you see him getting a piggyback ride from the thick redhead, and he just has this like beatific smile, like he's just
absolutely
happy.
Like it's
crazy.
Yeah. Like I was yeah, that tripped me the fuck out, dude. Like, but then again, I mean, you can tell like he's one of those guys who was really silent, but he was pulling tail like crazy, right? Because because you look at it, and he was the guy that you would never suspect that would, you know, fucking. But he was, oh my god, dude! Like all the women that came out of the woodwork he dated. I was like, are you kidding me? This guy?
I know. He had it going on.
But he had that cool artist thing about him. You know what I'm saying? That everybody wanted a piece of. Yeah. In fact, there's a story. God damn it! You get me on a Crumb thing because I have so many fucking stories of that motherfucker. No, we can't talk about it now. We got to save that.
We'll save that for the special Crumb episode.
Yeah. So we're out of here, and just
peace out, folks.
Check out the vintage stuff, dude. If you're an artist, that's where it's at. You know, this new shit, don't even waste your time. You know, you want to learn about lighting, you want to learn about dynamics and all that shit. It's not in a coffee shop. And that's where most comics take place at nowadays. So do yourself a favor. Get you some Wrightson in your life, some Baglafenosia, you know, and some Vigil. Yeah.
And study. And draw.
Yeah. Draw like your life depends on it. Yep. All right, we're out of here. Y'all take it easy.